Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we have another really cool unboxing video to do, and it's not just an unboxing, we actually have some figures to unbox, but I also just want to show you guys a few random little additions that I've recently acquired to add to my collection, but we'll start out with the actual figure unboxing from this box of a whole bunch of random stuff that I just got on eBay. The very first thing that I want to show you guys is a whole bunch of random little dinosaur figures, and I don't have even the slightest idea who exactly makes these figures, but there is a whole bunch of them in here, and they are just kind of adorable little dinosaurs. You can see a Parasaurolophus. We've got a whole bunch of random species. We've got some Apatosaurus and stuff in here, but the actual sculpting of them doesn't look bad. They're fairly decent for being really small little minifigures, and as you can see, there are numerous species included. I always love this figure. I've seen this numerous times, even in larger sizes, where it kind of looks like it's a raptor. It's got a sickle claw, but then up here on the head sculpt, it almost has like a beak-like appearance. I don't have a clue exactly what species they're trying to portray with that figure, but you can see we've got a Brachiosaurus as well in here. We've got an Ankylosaurus as well as a Stegosaurus. I'd like to think there's probably a T-Rex in here. Yep, there we go. There's a T-Rex as well, which also looks very reminiscent of a very cheap dollar store style Tyrannosaurus that I see quite often, and again in a much smaller size. I could see a Pachycephalosaurus back here hanging out. We've also got a Dimetrodon and a Styracosaurus, which the Styracosaurus looks straight out of Disney's Dinosaur. But lots of really cool little minifigures in here in this lot. This definitely wasn't exactly what I was purchasing the lot for. These were just kind of included, so I figured I'd show them to you guys. Random little dinosaur minifigures. We've also got some very cool vintage dinosaur figures, some stuff that I'm certain if you're around my age you probably played with as a child, so you've got that. Again, super old school Stegosaurus. We've also got a Brachiosaurus here, which is a little bit too tall currently for the positioning of my camera. Both of these figures I played with many times as a child, so I am no stranger to these. I love how goofy looking that Brachiosaurus is. I always did like him. Look how straight down that tail goes to the ground. It's like they just absolutely needed that Brachiosaurus's tail to be dragging on the ground, because that's how most of the other dinosaurs looked, and they just forced his tail down and completely broke the poor thing's tail to make sure it hit the ground. Always hilarious to me the way his tail looked. We've also got what I assume is potentially a Diplodocus or an Apatosaurus of some kind. Again, another very vintage, old school dinosaur figure, and I always love the vintage style figures, just something that really takes me back to my childhood, something I enjoyed so much as a kid. We've also got some more random stuff included in this box, a very beat up Safari Ltd. Carnegie Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. I really do love this figure. Clearly not really an accurate T-Rex as far as the way it is displayed, but I definitely am a big fan of this. I've repainted one once before to give it an albino type of a look, and I'm definitely going to be repainting this one at some point as well. I don't know exactly what type of a look I'll go for with that. It's actually missing a toe right there, so it has some issues to it, just like the one that I actually painted as an albino a while back, but still pretty nice looking figure. I do like that Rex a lot. There's also this very interesting creature, which is some sort of a weird wooden dinosaur that articulates, and you can see it moves and everything. Definitely not what I bought this for. It's very, very strange looking, but it's included, so I figured I'd show it to you guys. I'll just throw it on the sauropods back there. We also have a Disney's Dinosaur figure included, an Iguanodon, and if we push the button, out of my way, you can see that it actually still works. So awesome as far as that goes, and it's in really nice shape. This one is in beautiful shape. It's funny that we would go from a Safari Rex that's super beat up to this figure that is in really nice shape as far as that Iguanodon goes. We also have some Safari Ltd. Baby dinosaurs included here. We've got that really nice Triceratops. We've also got a baby Apatosaurus, super, super adorable looking, and these are actually also in really nice shape. Doesn't really appear to be any paint taken off of them at all. We also have the baby Tyrannosaurus Rex included as well as far as the Safari Ltd. Figures go. And the hits just keep on coming as we have even more baby Safari Ltd. Dinosaur figures. So there are quite a few of these guys included. If we actually position the camera down here to face them, and I've actually never even seen this Stegosaurus before, so I was really excited to see that one included because, again, it's not something that I've seen previously as far as the baby Stegosaurus goes. There was also this random little finger puppet of a Velociraptor that looks very Jurassic Park-ish. I don't know anything as far as this figure goes and its origins, but it's in here. We also have a whole bunch of random cheap figures going on here. We've got an old Hadrosaur, an old Apatosaurus, pretty much those standard super old school dinosaur figures that probably tons of us played with as a child. We've got more. And then we've got a little box full of just little dinosaur figures in here and stuff. We've got one of those goofy guys. Got like a little, I don't know, another finger puppet of a Pteranodon. Just a whole bunch of really neat little dinosaurs in here. Some old school stuff, some cheap stuff, some really bad, ugly stuff for the most part. Don't really know too much about those other than it's probably some more stuff I played with as a child. We also have a few more little extras down here. I kind of dig him a little bit. And again, some more. We've got a whole bunch of little guys here. We also have an old school Pteranodon right here. It's a Laramie. I thought that's who this guy was. So a Laramie Pteranodon. Again, giving you an idea of what was hiding down there in the bottom of this box. There's just a ton of random dinosaur figures in here. And then we also have this, which is some sort of a Learning Resources Mini Dinosaurs Playmat and Games to Go set, which just includes a ton of random little dinosaur figures like you can see right there, kind of hiding through. Nothing that's really super interesting that we need to break out right now. Just some really cheap looking figures, but still pretty fun to have that included still in box. And if we actually clear these guys all out of the way right now, we'll be able to take a look at the bigger figures that are included. Then we also have this figure. Now this figure, I don't know anything about. I don't know who made it or anything like that, but I thought it looked really cool when I had seen it on the images, because it almost has like a Jurassic Park type of a look to it, almost like a remote controlled sort of a Jurassic Park style T-Rex. And it's all got that kind of like soft real feel, sort of rubber to it. Not, well made like a Kenner figure or anything would be, but it's still pretty decent looking for the most part. You can see there's an area where it clearly made noise because we have like a speaker spot there. And it's definitely a cheaper looking figure, but I thought that it looked pretty appealing overall as far as the sculpt goes, and definitely a fun looking dinosaur figure that I would not mind adding to my collection. It clearly is in a tripod position with its tail on the ground, but like even the eyes are actually quite nicely painted. The teeth appear to be fairly well done for the most part. Definitely a figure that I was pretty excited to get a hold of, and I really didn't have to pay much at all to get, so that's a plus. And then actually the entire reason that I bought this lot was because this one figure was included, and this, if you are familiar with the figures, should tell you exactly who it is that I was super excited to get a hold of, as this is the base that goes to the figure, but it is actually the Resaurus Stegosaurus. This is a figure I did not have previously. I have the 4 carnivores that were released in the Resaurus line, and I also had the Triceratops when I had purchased this, and then I got this Stegosaurus, so that meant that there were only 2 figures left as far as these Resaurus figures go that I didn't have. And again, this Stegosaurus was an awesome addition to add to my collection, something I was really excited to get a hold of and add to my collection just because I love the Resaurus figures, and I'm getting close to completing the line. And one of the figures that I also needed to get a hold of, there's actually 2 left. There's a Stegosaurus and a Protoceratops. The Protoceratops, however, is one of the hardest figures to find as far as these Resaurus figures go. It is just super, super rare. But luckily for me, I have friends like John Siculo who actually found one. I'm not too sure where. He bought it for really cheap, he said. So he sent it to me, and I now actually have the Resaurus Protoceratops as well. So I am so close now to completing my Resaurus line. I don't have all the bases for them or anything, so it'll never be fully complete until I get all the bases. But as far as the actual dinosaurs, and that's what I'm worried about, of course, would be the dinosaurs, I am very, very close. I only now need the Stegosaurus, and I will have all the dinosaurs as far as I know when it comes to the Resaurus line. And the Protoceratops he sent is actually in really nice shape for the most part. There's a few little tiny scuffs here and there, but I am insanely happy to have this because this is kind of like one of my holy grail figures that I never thought I would ever in a billion years get a hold of, just because the prices are always so insanely high for it. But having friends like John Sekulo kind of always looking out for you is just the coolest thing in the world. And a huge thank you goes out to him for helping me acquire this figure, because again, it's one I never thought I would get a hold of. But now having this, and then of course the Stegosaurus was the final figure from that previous lot we just looked at, just is an unbelievable feeling knowing I'm so close to having all of the resource figures, but just 2 figures I am over the moon excited now to have in my collection. I also have a few really cool figures that I'm sure you, if you again are my age, you will probably have seen. I bought these guys for 50 cents a piece at a local flea market. Nothing that most people are probably going to go crazy over, but personally I am always a fan of figures that take me back to my childhood. Unfortunately, I don't know who made these figures at all. I'm not too familiar with the line, something I'm going to have to look into in the very near future, but I remember having quite a few of these as a child, so I was pretty excited to find some in decent shape. There's a little bit of like defects going on this guy. It looks like he's got like a little bit of a chewed tail. Some parts of the face seem a little beat up, but for the most part, they're in decent shape and really fun figures for sure. Then I was also at a flea market over the weekend, and I stumbled upon this figure, and it appears to be some sort of a very strange Godzilla. I don't know anything at all about it, but it was so ridiculously adorable that when I had seen it, I instantly knew I needed to buy it. I don't remember exactly what I paid, maybe like $1 for it or something like that, which is probably still a little bit too high, but I was pretty excited to find it regardless. It's something I had never seen before. I don't know anything at all about this figure, but he was a nice little find hiding in a bunch of random toys, and I scooped him up pretty quick, and now he's another ugly, weird, kind of goofy figure now in my collection. I also recently scored this, which almost fell over, is a Lindbergh Stegosaurus model, a kit that you have to put together. Not your most high quality Stegosaurus kit for sure, but I actually found this at a pawn shop for $2 and thought it was just too good to pass up for only $2. I'm barely even spending any money at all to go ahead and get a hold of it, and at $2 it was definitely worth the price of admission. Still sealed. I'll probably build it, but not for a very long time, as I have tons of other stuff that I want to build and paint and repaint and everything way before this Stegosaurus will ever see the light of day. But I figured I'd show it to you guys because he's pretty fun. And then we got this little lot of figures here that I just got in the mail today. And not your best figures for sure. We've got only 4 included, 3 of which I don't really care too much for. You've got a kind of an old school Parasaurolophus, which actually he looks pretty decent. He's not a bad figure, I guess. He's very cheap looking, but still kind of fun. And then we have what appears to be a broken toothless figure with no wings, which he's probably just, going to disappear off into obscurity. And then we've got a very vintage looking kind of cheap Spinosaurus figure as well. But the entire reason I bought this lot was just because I needed this guy, which is a beautiful Safari Ltd Parasaurolophus, and one figure I've been looking for quite a while. Again, I love the Parasaurolophus that has that kind of skin hanging off the crest. I always did like that look, and this is one of the only other figures that I can really recall having it besides the Marx version, and then the Terabyte version as well also has that look. So I've been wanting to get a hold of this one for a while. I don't think I have it. Again, it's tough sometimes remembering if you have figures or not, but I'm pretty sure I don't have this one. So when I saw this, it was really cheap for this lot. It was only a couple of bucks, and I thought it was definitely worth picking up for sure. So I'm really happy to have this Parasaurolophus now in my collection as well. And then I recently got the final thing that I want to show you guys here. I bought this off of Mercari as well because it is 2 different Collect Day figures, and we've got these 2 right here. Now, the one that I actually bought this for, of course, I already had this guy, so I wasn't too worried about him. I'm probably going to repaint him at some point. But the one that I was really interested in was this one, because this is the Paraceratherium by Collect Day, the Deluxe Paraceratherium. There aren't very many figures out there of this species, and I really was drawn to this figure for a very long time, way before it was discontinued, which it is now retired. I really wanted to get a hold of it, and it was that one figure that I always just kind of passed up thinking I'm going to grab it soon, and then I didn't, and then it went and got retired. Then the prices kind of skyrocketed, and it was just very complicated to get a hold of it, and I never found it for a very good price. And then I spotted this lot for like $20 with both of these included and thought, why not buy it, because I can repaint the one figure, and then I get this one as well. And it's a figure I'm super, super happy now to have in my collection. One I've wanted again for a very long time and kind of struggled to get a hold of. I was very close to just ordering it on DeJenkins because they actually still have some in stock, which if you are interested in getting a hold of one of these, I really suggest heading over there and buying it as soon as possible, because once they sell out, they're gone forever because it is retired. But again, all of this stuff is some of my newest acquisitions that I've added to my collection. Wanted to unbox that one set there and then just show you guys some of the other random things I've found. This video went on a bit longer than I was hoping for, but regardless, some pretty fun stuff that I now have in my collection. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.